Now I'm sure you know the saying that all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Well, it's true amalgam actually. Right, so I thought we'd have a play. That is a piece of that electrical board. So I've taken the meters off, got all those rusty screws out, and I cut it up, cut two pieces up, 3/4 of an inch about, and I've got enough there, look, to make a couple of cylinders, you see. So I've got to try that, because we need a smooth side to run on there. I was going to see if I could drill a hole in that, and we only want 1/2 inch of this, so just maybe put it on the belt sander and grind a thou or so off it. We might be able to do that. Anyway, like I said, just to help someone and for a bit of fun, I've got here's a proper one, and all we're making is this bit, right? Do you know, I've not had this to pieces for, I cannot remember when. Anyway, what I'm going to do first, if I can, is just to show you, because yesterday, by the way, talk about videos, yesterday, I'll come back as far, I need to come back to there, don't I? I think you can see what I'm doing in there. I'm sort of looking. Right, you know, I've got to have glasses on now, of course. I've not taken this to pieces since, I don't know when I got it. I can't remember when I got it. So I thought what I'll do is take it to pieces and show you what we're actually doing. So there's just a screw there that holds it on. That's with a spring, just the same as what we're making. And then that's the cylinder. I can now, you know, with this, that's the beauty of this, having a decent camera in it. I've got a better camera, you know that. And so we can show you. This is what we're making. Right. There's the pivot point. And there is the hole that lets the steam in and out. Now, having a look at this, the piston, by the way, is very short, see, and it's got a long connecting rod. Now, a long connecting rod, let me get my hand the other way around, there. Right, now the longer that the rod is, obviously, the less that has to move. But the tighter the tolerance is at the other end. And that, of course, is just the same as what we're making. Look, see, there's no cylinder head on it. So that's all it is. And this is, I think, this is probably where the idea comes from. And you can see what the piston is, of course. It's just a hole. It's just been tapped. That'll be tapped, of course, and the rod in. And that end has got a hole in it. Now, what's interesting, let me not lose that little screw, else I've got to be in trouble, aren't I? What's interesting on here, and you can now see, right, that's the exhaust hole, and that's the inlet hole, and I'm sure you can see the exhaust hole is larger than the inlet hole. And I found that quite interesting because that sets the timing, you see. So that's what we're doing, you know. So all that happens is it goes like that on there, and those holes, that hole there lines up with that one, and the steam comes in, and then the crankshaft turns like that. Remember, it's that way when it's open, steam goes in, turns round, and those holes join up and it blows the steam out, you know. And the whole thing is worked by a heavy flywheel with the kinetic energy that's stored up. That's a clever word, isn't it? That's a posh word. Kinetic energy is why that doesn't stop immediately. There we are. I know you know that, and we're just trying to have a bit of fun. So I'm going to see if I can put this back together again, which I think it was easier for me when I was, I don't know how old I was when I got this. I really honestly cannot remember. There's a little oil hole thing there. You've got to get the connecting rod on and get that in that hole, which I can't even blooming see with glasses on, so yeah, not doing very well, are we? There we are. It's gone on. How about that? It's gone on. Now, like I said, I think, don't you? I think we ought to give this a little run. Won't be too long. Like I said, let's have a bit of fun today. Try and get a bit of interest, eh? So what I'll do, I'll nip downstairs and fill it with hot water. And I've got a drop of meths and I've got my little burner. It'd help if I turn the camera to record, wouldn't it? Anyway, I've managed to get the little burner filled up with meths and they seem to work. It was the last little drop in the bottom, I didn't have to wood. So while that's just getting a little bit hotter, I'm not very good at drawing. I was okay at technical drawing, I suppose, at school, but never been the neatest, as you've seen with other things. Anyway, I've just written down a few rough dimensions, and as I've just shown you on there, the only critical part is that the inlet holes line up when the crank is at 90 degrees, you know, straight down. That is the only thing, the only really critical thing. And of course the piston has to be right in that. Anyway, right, your upright wants to be 3.5 to 4 inches for the size that we're doing. The engine itself has a 3/8 bore and a 3/4 stroke. Oh, I forgot. While that was off, I meant to measure this one just to see. Now, for a 3/4 stroke, obviously, you need a 3/8 crankshaft. So, if you put your bolt in, drill your holes 3/8 of an inch apart. The piston itself, obviously, wants to be 3/8 of an inch by 1/2 inch. And of course there's a hole in the middle of that for your connecting rod, which we don't know what the length is until we build it. Now the block, mine will be about 3/4 square. That doesn't matter. It'll have a 3/8 hole drilled in the end, not right through because we haven't got a head on it, as I said, and to the side about, so it'll be, instead of being in the middle, it's to allow a bit more meat there for the now the hole, the small steam hole, it wants to be in the middle, go all the way through to the piston obviously, and about 5/16 from the top. And because it's a 3/4 stroke, the pivot hole wants to be 3/4 of an inch on centres from the steam hole. And that's about it. There we are. Got a bit of power. power this up. Burn it out for a second. Let's show you something. Remember, this is a professional one. Well, bought toy, I should say. Bought toy. Keeps going a while, you see. And while it's done slowly, we can show you a bit closer. But here's the thing. Watch that flywheel if I hold steady. Look at that, it's got a slight wobble on it. And that's the professional one. They all wobble. Right, we'll have one more short run. I think that's all I've got to tell you. You know, I think I've played with this more in the last year or two making videos than I did when I was a kid. There it goes, see? And I've got a video of this riding sometime. Right, that'll do. Wait, I'm not worried about that. I'll let this cool down. And so this is just to show you what you can look forward to when you've built yours. You actually build yourself one that works. And it's dead easy to, you know, if you want to, you can always run it on a bit of steam. It's dead easy to make a boiler. I'll show you on my other one sometime. Not today, because this is plenty long enough. So there we are. You know what you've got to do. No excuses. But make it last. Because when it's done, you'll either have to start another one, or you'll be bored. Right, see you in a bit.